everyone, this is Anmol Sahu from team The Golden Book of JEC, and today we are with another session. Today we have got the opportunity to interact with our guest Dr. Vinamra Chaturvedi Sir, who is a senior researcher at IIT Kanpur. Sir has 28 years of rich experience and has also worked at Crompton Greaves Ltd and Princeton Electronics System. Sir, we are grateful to have you in our session today. Sir, how do you remember JEC? Can you please share some of the memorable moments with our audience?
Oh, thanks. First thing first, thank you for calling me here. I will remember it as a place which has kind of given me this opportunity, which is a lifetime opportunity for a lot of people in the times that we find ourselves having a good career is important. So I can thank Government Engineering College, Jabalpur, which is now Jabalpur Engineering College, that it gave me the opportunity to become an electrical engineer.
Yes.
So I rate it as one of the lifetime opportunities for me. In fact, where we are interviewing right here is where I wrote my engineering entrance exam. It was in the civil engineering department right across there.
Yes, sir.
And I remember writing the architecture exam too. So I got selected in a couple of colleges. Some of them were not within our reach. In those days, the counseling thing was the norm. And I believe it still remains the same thing, right? So I actually got into Government Engineering College, Sagar. First year I did it from there. In those days, the transfer norms were not there. So then after first year, I came here. And that was our batch. Batch was the first batch which had a counseling-based system where the branch allocation was also there. And also, the first time the 5-year course was changed to 4 years. So each year, perhaps you guys know this thing, every 4 or 5 years, the government and the systems change. And that's the beauty of the system to sustain. Otherwise, it becomes easy to crack.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I actually ended up during my PhD got delayed, and I had this career which is kind of mixed of academic and corporate and research. And so while my PhD was getting delayed, I taught here for a year. So my alumni, in a way, my college supported me, which is I always carry this very good feeling in me that I could pay back, and they were, going to a good institute has its own advantage, and I cannot be overemphasizing this point to anybody. Yeah. So in those days, IT department was not there. It was electrical, civil, electronics, mechanical, and maths and physics were still around. And this admin block is where the engineering drawing classes used to happen. I believe it still remains the same because
it has changed.
Okay.
We have engineering drawing rooms in civil department and in mechanical department.
Oh, okay.
So
I can't be too sure because I didn't do my first year here. So engineering drawing is because the first year. So, but I used to hear. And then we also had an electrical engineering drawing thing. So it is. I think a lot of it has now moved to computers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I'm asking,
AutoCAD
you still draw by hand? You don't?
In first year we are taught by hand, and in
Great.
consecutive years we are learning AutoCAD.
Right. AutoCAD was computer-based drawing was almost the time of the year when we started. In our batch, that computer, so we would make cycles and moving cycles.
Yes, sir.
Like that. Professor Viren Kumar was there, and he was there in the CAD in charge, and he would teach.
He was professor in the mechanical department till last year.
Okay.
And this year he has been transferred to RGPV.
Okay.
MPDT.
Okay. Yeah. He was one of the shining figures in those days.
Yes.
In the electrical engineering department, we had a lot of changes in the years that we were here. So we had around 2 or 3 HODs. So it was a very dynamic times for us. But it was a dreaded department too, believe me. उतने number नहीं मिलेंगे आपको वहाँ पर, लेकिन सीखने को बहुत कुछ मिलेगा. So I believe it still remains the same. Yeah? The impressions don't change, But I keep telling it to people that don't be too much at the bachelor's level. It is important to learn as much as you can so that you can make career choices. You have more options to exercise. Yeah,
Yes.
in stock options, in the market parlance, if you have more options, then you are considered better positioned.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'm not using, not trying to draw a simile there, but if you have done your bachelor's in a thorough manner, then you have more options. Electrical engineering is exciting in that sense that you could make changes to electronics, you can get into computers, perhaps not mechanical, but there's a lot of math, so some people get into math thing, and computers, hardware, software. So electrical engineering is still a very important subject as I see it. There are changes now that electrical and electronics branches are getting merged. Even in our times, there was this option for, but I think it stopped around the time that we were here, in the sense that some people would opt for more courses and still get a double degree in electronics, but it never got into play when we graduated. But earlier batches, we had heard that you could do some more courses and you'll get a dual degree of some type. Some people had tried. But then the systems became more fixated and more organized. So our batch had a 60, somewhere around 40 or 60 engineers, electrical engineers. Now the times have changed, they're churning out more number of engineers.
Yes, sir.
And so that's one thing there. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you for sharing your wonderful experience.
Okay.
We got the insight from your time. Like I felt that I am from itself from 95 batch, and I was just imagining how the college was at that time and was going through the transition from that phase to this phase.
Yeah.
And now moving on to our next question,
Ah.
I would like to ask that what is one thing, or it could be multiple things also,
Right.
which you love about our college
Ah.
that other colleges may not offer at that time?
Yeah. Okay. So it had a very interesting mix of academics, sports, and cultural activities.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, our batch was unique. That prior to that, what was happening was that a lot many times the semesters were slipping because of the academic, timetable issues. We were working under the Rani Durgavati Vishyavadhyaya regime. Later it changed. So we had a lot of time to do different activities. So sometimes the flip side was that it wasn't very organized, but our experience was rich. We could participate in academic activities. We could participate in sports. I guess it will remain first year, second year is more fun. Then there's more serious stuff. And so by the time we graduated, we were, I guess our batch was one of the few that had graduated before time, 2 weeks ahead or something in the 4-year course that we had. So to that extent, it was a unique experience. We were moving in fast and slow lanes both. Yeah. Yeah. So that makes it unique.
Yes, sir. Surely that was a great answer.
So, how has your college life helped you in facing the challenges that you have faced either in your personal life or in the starting of your corporate journey?
Oh yeah, so this is a good question. I was one of the lucky few who got selected in the campus here. Yeah. In those days, the mandate wasn't as rigid, which means that now it's required for colleges and institutes to place their students into good positions in companies and other places. But in those days, that was not the mandate from the government side. It was a hidden tacit agreement. If you do it, then the college is good, stands to gain. I was one of the, I won't call it the exclusive thing, but I was lucky and I was also fortunate to get placed into a company. So that transition wasn't as hard for me because of the good training that we had in electrical engineering in our times. I liked, towards the final year, I got very interested in power system and high voltage. engineering, which is a specialization, still continues here. And we learned some amount of computers. Yeah. So that kind of helped me in getting placed. In those days, that was, I guess, considered good. And coming out from a good schooling system also helped. So, as a advisement, if that is the question, or probably I'm extending it, uh, if you feel during your college journey that certain skills are missing in you, there are learning gaps. These days, the word catchphrase is learning gaps. So, if you think that this is something that I need to learn, then these club activities, etc., help you. Yeah. So, just like we are discussing, that supposing you want to learn music while you are in college, how would you do it? So, our new education policy, and even in our times, there were some people would do it as a hobby. They will enroll in some club or something, and there was at least two people that I remember. One is Vedant. He teaches in a college. He was a very good tabla player, and there was a program that was held right here in those days. I guess it was some 70 years or something. So it was held right in this premise, and I guess either here or in the auditorium, he played that tabla, and it was a marvelous thing. And we learned that this is something that we are missing in our. So then there were immediate spurt of activities like music club got invigorated, and we must learn this. And so college life is about learning, and institutes of higher learning and colleges of higher learning give you that opportunity, and I find it sufficiently fulfilling to take challenges in corporate life, because there it could be more than your technical skills. Your social and human skills are also tested in the engineering world that you enter, and that's where these things start playing. So, for example, if you are working on a shop floor, which is what our first job was as a quality engineer, you have to motivate technicians and other subordinate staff. So, if somebody is having a bad day, how do you motivate him? Yeah, he is still present in the job. How do you motivate him? You cannot keep yelling at a person always. You can yell at him, try to motivate him, but negative motivations have rarely worked. I'm a father of two boys, and I realize it now more than ever in my life that you can use pressure tactics only up to a point. After that, it's some self-motivation. So, as a mentor, you would try and ask him things about he would like to go out, have a cup of tea with him, motivate him. Some of these social skills were amply amplified in the environment that we found ourselves in. So, Jabalpur Engineering College gives you that opportunity. It does. I still believe that. And I am quite happy about my, this got inculcated in us in the right time frame. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your answer, sir. We are so glad to hear your experiences.
Yeah.
My next question from you is,
Ah.
how did your mindset change during the transition from a student life to a working profession?
Oh, yeah. So, see, the way I see it is the following. It's a easy thing to, for an engineer or a science, even for an arts major, think of the pyramid that somebody in 8th or 9th standard, and think of this catchphrase, dog eat dog world, right? And now there's more room at the bottom, then there you start, gradually you start moving up and there's less room. But that doesn't mean that you start killing people and being mean to people, right? You learn new things and excel in it to climb the ladder.
Right.
Now, it is easy for me to say it. How does one practice it is the question, right? So, practice and learning go hand in hand. That's our professional training. You graduate doesn't mean that you have become a good individual, and that you are a good engineer doesn't make you a good engineer. So, it's a give and take. Yeah, it's a give and take, and you keep learning. So, as long as your learning attitude is preserved in your being, you'll be a happy soul. You'll be a happy soul doing what you wish to do. Most of the people have it. Most of the people have this characteristics in them. But it's just that they don't realize it in time that. So this is a higher abstraction of your answer of your question. On our side, we were sufficiently trained on the electrical engineering, but there were certain challenges. For example, you wouldn't have seen so many instrumentation in your engineering, so you may feel intimidated. So there were pitfalls too, but you learn quickly. You take the advantage of the good books that you have read. And those days there was no internet, but we would carry our books. And sometimes if you are in corporate life, then there are libraries within the system. You go out and try and अपने फंडे ठीक कर लीजिए और जो बुक्स हैं उनके जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं उनके मैनुअल पढ़ लीजिए so you would know what. And then instruction set, sometimes the companies who are supplying you, they hold small training session, be regular in that. And I used to work in a company, they would send us for training sessions on new technologies as well as new management techniques. So for 2 years I was in a very good shape. After that I decided to do my master's, so I wrote my exams, and like that we transitioned to higher platforms of learning. Yeah. So as long as to crisp and short answer would be, don't think that you have learned enough ever. Don't go overboard about it, because these days pressures could be really high. You guys live in a much different world. The pressures are much dramatic in nature. But don't fall into that trap. We are now living in a social media. Everything is being watched and this and that. So also learn how to relax. It's really, really important to unwind. Yeah. And unwinding, don't do something which is, okay, so the engineer talk. Don't try to do something which is irreversible.
Very true.
Yeah. Your life is precious. Don't treat your body like a. We tend to start thinking in those lines. You know, इतना खाना खा लेंगे तो 4 दिन खाना नहीं खाना पड़ेगा, पर उस दिन तो फिर वो आपका पेट गड़बड़ होने वाला है या कुछ something like that. So in our latent thought process, a lot of this thing comes in. But I guess if you read enough good books and hang around with enough good people and be observant about the facts of life, then such mistakes would not happen. I'm not preaching, but I guess it is just evident that nature teaches a lot. You be more observant of what is around you. You would never find an animal overeating. So why should we be doing it? That's the tark behind it, the logic behind it. But more important than the tark or the logic is the fact that it should come intuitively. Many times under huge pressure we tend to lose our fundamentals, and so if the fundamentals are right, then chances of the building coming up nicely are more. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your answer, sir. Your words will truly help us a lot.
Okay.
Sir, can you please share some of your experiences from Crompton Greaves Ltd, where you have worked for an year or about?
In those days, getting into some of these corporate thing was getting big while still in college, because prior to that, I guess the norm was that not just our batch, in the intervening years that when we were here, prior to that, most of the people would get into public sector undertaking by writing entrance exams or something like that. But our economy was getting liberalized in the years that so we had this unique opportunity where corporate giants would come and interview you through their networks, and I guess it pretty much has become like a templated thing now. So they would come here to test their transformers, etc. And so one of these days, this manager shows up and conducted the interview, and I got selected. And they had a high voltage lab, and they had a quality thing going there. So one of the things that engineers in our training don't realize that the real world works a little differently They will have maintenance department, they will have quality department, they will have marketing department, they'll have HR department, they'll have. So one of the things that we immediately learned there was that there is a engineering core to that company, and then there are services. Yeah. And so we got into the quality engineering department, quality testing program. There were 3 of us, and one of them was in the final testing, which is the assembly of the transformer unit that were getting manufactured there. And there was an in-process thing while it is getting assembled. So think of something like a bottle. So you have steel rolled, and then the finished product is like a bottle. So you would test it for some pressure or something. So one person was in the final thing, and we were into the quality of while it is getting processed. You keep checking there's some hole in this or something like that. So we learned a couple of techniques there, and in the final testing, it was a high voltage testing lab that we had here, something similar there. That being said, other than that, there were a lot of computers there in the design department, and we would sometimes take time out, and the company allowed us to get trained on things that you would like to do extra, because your career is at, I won't call it stake, but your career starts moving. So it was a very good experience. In fact, I learned a lot of electrical engineering there, and we would oftentimes you'd have to go to the field, which means you would take a company product. In this case, it was a transformer, and it would be a high voltage job with a high rating, something like a 10 MVA was the highest that we would make. And we would go to remote places, sometimes on a seashore, and you have to bring it live with a arranged set of people. And we learned that now that go live. So you're recording, and then you are giving me a prompt to go live. So in the transformer world, you have to put in the wire and turn on the switches, and it can blast or it can start working. So to bring it into the grid it still remains a technique to be learned. There are certain essential tests that you would do, and those tests may not be there in our coursework, but nevertheless, there were, again, as I said in the previous talk, that you would learn on job. So there is a portion of on job training, and I guess your curricular practical training, which is your summer training or something, if you are aligned well, then that helps you to find a placement. So I had done training in BHEL, and that kind of helped us. It was challenging, but we learned a lot, and so that's what we did.
Yes, it was great to hear from your experience. It gives us immense pleasure to have known such an esteemed alumnus as you are, sir. We feel proud to be at the place where you have left your footprints and reached such an admirable position, sir. On the behalf of Jabalpur Engineering College, we wish you a healthy and happy life. Thank you for being there in the session, sir. This is from the team.
Thanks so much for your extra work that you're doing on a Sunday, and I wish you all success. And I guess I just cannot express my gratitude to where I belong. This is the place to. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.